to another episode of Sit Down for Stand Up. Today I've got with me East London Bilal Zafar. How's it going, man? You well?
Good, yeah. Thanks for having me.
No, pleasure, man. Pleasure. I mean, to be honest, I was excited to have you on, man. I mean, I've watched your stuff. I've been a fan. I mean, literally to prepare for this, I've just finished watching your comedy special. Uh,
The one on YouTube, yeah.
yeah, the one on YouTube. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah. How do you think that went?
Uh, that was good. I mean, that was my I was lucky with that one. That was that show I originally done in 2016. That was my debut hour, and
Yeah.
that got me a Edinburgh newcomer nomination. So that was, that basically got me a career in comedy at that point because I was quite new. So yeah, it's a big deal. But filming it 4 years later, it was a bit weird trying to remember it, and it's weird doing an old show because
Hmm.
you change so much.
I mean, with it, how much like material did you write to like axe it down into like the 50-minute set?
The what, sorry?
How much material did like you write to go into it? Then like you had to like cut it, chop it.
You mean like initially when I wrote it?
Yes.
Oh God, I think because I was quite new at the time, right? So I'd been doing stand up for like 3 years,
Mm.
and I had this 5 minute set that was about the cake shop thing that the show is about, where I'd read it off a notebook, and I did really well in some new act competitions and stuff. And then to be honest, doing the hour, I mean, it was closer to 50 minutes. It was me trying to get as much stuff as I could to get to an hour at that point. It's totally different now because I've been doing it a while. Like doing an hour on stage is a lot easier, but at that point it was like, like it was probably 40 minutes long for a while, if that. I found it really hard. I think it is quite hard for a lot of people at first doing an hour, yeah.
How long was like your sets before you decided to write a special? Was you just doing like your fives, tens, moved up to your twenties, and then
Yeah.
just like
I
just did the leap?
I basically just started doing 20s. And
Okay.
even that was hard. Like it's really funny to say now because I've been, like uh I've been doing some work in progress shows lately. I'm not doing Edinburgh this year, but just doing them, try and work up a new show. And it's like doing 45 to 50 now. It feels really easy now. But when you first start doing 20s, man, it's so hard. The jump up from 5 to 10 is hard, isn't it?
Mm.
And then eventually you might do 15, and then you might, like, what I did was I'd try and incorporate a bit of crowd work in there just to try and fill the time. But yeah, I just started doing 20s, and then I had all these work, like I was doing all these previews to try and get the show up to. I mean, even the cake show originally, when I did it in Edinburgh, there was a bit of it that was like a Q&A,
Mm.
which was good. It worked well, but it was basically there to fill time because
Mm.
I found it so hard.
Well, your crowd work is like absolutely immense. How because this podcast is mostly about like giving people new comedians advice from the people who've been doing it. How did you sort of like hone your skills with crowd work? Was it like trial and error, or was it just like your natural confidence sort of enabled and enhanced you?
Uh, it just sort of, I guess it just sort of happens a bit, right? Like, when you're in the moment, like I wouldn't plan to do bits of crowd work, but it just ends up happening. Especially if you get interrupted or something, not like fully heckled, but and then you end up going with it a bit. Um, yeah, I don't know. I don't MC a lot of gigs because I don't think I'm very good at, I wouldn't want to be someone who just does the whole like, what's your name? What do you do? But occasionally having a bit of a chat with people can be really fun. Um, yeah, I don't know. I don't really have a technique to it. I mean, I guess something that I can lean into a bit is like my demeanor is like naturally downbeat. Like I can't help it. Like my voice I'm always really monotone. And
Hmm.
I guess sometimes talking to the crowd that can sound a certain way. I think it just sounds kind of funny. Do you know what I mean? Like I don't have to say a lot to sort of put someone down a little bit. Do you know what I mean? If someone, like for example, I was doing a gig recently and someone like interrupted and tried to say something funny, and I just said, "Our comedy, it's not as easy as it looks, is it?" And I just said that, and it was like just a huge laugh. Do you know what I mean? I didn't have to go into the guy and start, like all these clips online of heckler destroyed or whatever. where I didn't start having a like calling them ugly or anything like that or any of that, So I guess realizing this, the what I have is this, understanding the stage persona I have and how it looks and comes across, if that makes sense.
Okay. Yeah, I'm with you on that. And I always got I had someone on about a couple of days ago, and they said like the bar for heckling and comebacks is a lot lower because it's
Mm.
live, it's there and then. Where like the material you bring to the stage has got to be, top tier because you've chose to say that. But
Yeah,
with like hecklers and stuff, it's sort of a lot lower. But it's good that we
yeah,
don't lower. But one of the things I loved about your special was the whole Twitter bit. It sort of seemed like you'd cracked a formula, and it's something that
yeah,
you could just keep revisiting. I mean, I could have watched that on live stream, and boom, 8 hours would have gone by.
yeah,
So if you
yeah.
were, oh, sorry,
Sorry, go on.
I say, so if you were to do another special, or are you doing another special, and would you keep the same formula?
Well, what I found difficult. So I've done a couple more actually, but I've done them with Go Faster Stripe, which is a
Okay.
website which so they film it for you and then they sort of you can get it for a fiver or whatever. I'm not sure, but they're really good. Go Faster Stripe. So those ones aren't on like for free on YouTube. Um, what was hard about it was that as much as I love that show, it was like I was talked about like I didn't want to become like a spokesperson for like Muslims. Do you know what I mean? I
Was
didn't
they
want to
try and
be
wrap you in
like,
the? Okay.
yeah. I mean, big time. Like, so I saw that show as I thought it was like about how stupid bigotry is, right? In any way is what I was trying to say with it. Look how silly this all is, and the
Yeah, Andy
amount of
Weir can go
effort.
fuck himself. You know.
Well, exactly, yeah. Um, but it was always written about as look at this Muslim comedian taking down Islamophobia and all of this. And I was like, well, I wasn't trying to be like a hero. I just thought it's just a really funny, silly show. You know what I mean? And then after that, I was only really getting asked to do things around being Muslim or around being Asian and stuff, which I didn't think when when I started comedy when I was like 21,
Yeah.
and I didn't think at the time, I was very naive. I didn't know that I'd get pigeonholed like that. So since then, I guess I ended up talking about that stuff a bit less because,
Okay.
yeah, I don't want to be like what's the word I'm looking for? Um, like, yeah, I guess I said spokesperson, but I don't want to be seen as this. I don't want to end up going on Question Time and stuff. Do you know what I mean?
Okay. I
I'd
see. Like,
hate
yeah,
that.
you said poster boy, which I think is like
Yeah,
the. But then let me ask you, with a sort of coming up in the comedic scene, surely that would have been the low hanging fruit as a fast track. So you sort of put
yeah.
your pride and your what's the word? I've got you got me on it now. The not,
I don't
not
know, dignity.
yeah, yeah. You sort of put your. I mean, there's nothing wrong with being a spokesman for something you're passionate about, and
Yeah.
but you sort of said no. I want to my dignity over being a spokesperson.
That's how I feel. I mean, like I got into comedy. I wanted to be like a writer before. Like I
Okay.
didn't think I'd ever do stand up, and I thought I'd be like an Armando Iannucci, Chris Morris type of guy. Like that's who I really loved. Um, and I never thought, yeah, I just thought writing funny, silly stuff. I thought if I'm just a good comedian, I thought I'd get good opportunities. I didn't know, it was naive, but I was really young. But yeah, I mean. It's just not what I want to. I just think getting into stand up, like it's a lot of work. Like you don't think about when you've been doing it a while, you don't think about how brutal it was when you're starting and how scary it is, man. Like my legs were like jelly a lot of the time. I'd get so nervous. And to
Still get
do all of
nervous?
that, sorry.
Do you still get nervous?
Oh, a little bit, but not like that.
Hmm.
Yeah. But to do all of that and then just end up being like oh, I don't know. Like some of the opportunities are like some of the things I've been asked to do is like random, yeah, just random shows about Muslim stuff that I don't think seem very funny or interesting. And it's like if that's what that all led to, you
Yeah.
know. But
I mean, the something that breaks my heart a little bit. Like I'm a fat guy. I'd probably do about 2 minutes of being fat, and then I move on to sort of general what I want to talk about. I mean, when I see a lot of people from the Middle East, they always like to say their opening joke is like, "No, I'm not your Uber driver." And
Yeah.
it gets the low hanging fruit chuckle, but it is like you've typecasted yourself straight
Mm.
away. You made that the butt of the joke. And I think
Yeah,
whilst
it's very easy. Like when you're, I guess, new comedians, because it's so hard. Like I think at the start, like just to write when you very first start doing it, I think no one really knows what they're doing at first. It's so difficult, and then you do the stuff that is easier when you're new, and everyone has their things. And yeah, I mean, I'm always a bit disappointed. I've seen comedians fully just do a full 5, 10 minutes of just stereotypical stuff which I
yeah.
think is like it's pretty offensive. And it's like sometimes like it is like material for racists. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, it's like I'm gonna say this word twice. There's like laugh at me, and then there's laugh at me,
yeah.
and which like yeah, you are like giving ammunition to the
Mm,
racist people, and oh well, he does have a point. He has I don't know, he has done
yeah.
something. He has it's like reconfirming their previous affirmations about something.
Mm,
So
yeah.
so what are your views then on like I've seen quite a lot lately, on the forums and everything, sort of like LGBT only, women
Hmm.
only. You've got to be a certain demographic to play this room. Surely
Yeah.
that is just, you know, putting people in their own boxes again.
Well, I guess, but like, I guess you could look at it like that, but like I guess a lot of these acts don't get a lot of gigs. And it's just the odd night, isn't it? Like an LGBT one. Like, I don't think there's a lot. It's not like it's taken over the comedy store or anything like that. It's just the odd gig, right?
No, yeah, yeah, true. Yeah, I guess yeah, it's morely for like like the newer comics to come
Mm,
on and to sort of present themselves. So you've been in it for a while. What would you say? How long have we been doing it for now? Over 10 years, haven't we?
yeah.
What would you say
God.
has changed in the comedy world since you started?
Oh. That's a good question. I mean, I guess okay, yeah. So the Edinburgh Fringe is a big one because that's what led to me getting a comedy career in a way, right? That's obviously changed massively in terms of the cost of it. It's
Now,
like
so it's like
literally, I did it.
25 grand to host a show, living, eating for all the time.
It's yeah, it's really unaffordable for so many people now. Like I went up in 2016 for the first time,
Yeah.
which isn't that long ago, right? But it's like it's changed so much since then that it's yeah, it's pricing so many people out, and then the audiences are getting like priced out as well. So there's that. Like that has I feel like that's changed a lot because before the plan would have been write an hour every year, go Edinburgh, try and do a little tour if you can, if things go well. That's how I would do things. And then write a new hour, and that's what keeps you busy. And then if you're lucky, you can earn a living that way as well, mostly through that. So there's that. That's changed. Now it's like I'm not going up this year. I didn't go last year. Might go next year, but it's like I have to plan it a lot more carefully now and just plan my life out around it. There's that, and then of course social media and the clip stuff is completely different like to when I started. Like all these crowd work comedians that get, millions of views and that wasn't happening. Um yeah, I mean just the way that comedy is talked about, I guess. Yeah, I'd say those are the two main things for a British comedian anyway, the Edinburgh Fringe and then and social media, which is, positive and negative, I think.
Okay, so for a new comedian, would you say, let's say a comedian under 5 years, would you
Yeah.
say that Edinburgh Fringe is still, the goal, the benchmark to do it, or just wait down the line, find other avenues to get noticed?
That's a really good question, man, because like the thing about Edinburgh is
Thank you.
I yeah, it's really good. When I like even that's when I last go up, I think 2023, I think. Um, as much as I get annoyed about the costs and all of that stuff, it is brilliant to do. Like because like you doing a show every day, if you're there for the whole month, doing it every day, you just become a better comedian by the end, 100%. Like just there's just something about like same time every day and just like going through the whole thing. And by the end of it, the show is different as well. Like you're not the show that you start with is not going to be the same by the end. It's going to be way better and you will be a better performer. And it is, it's great to meet people and everything and it is fun. definitely. So I'd highly recommend doing it. Um, I don't know if I guess what's different is you don't need to do it, whereas before it felt like you needed to. Now you can. I mean, if you get 100,000 followers on Instagram, it seems like that is you can probably sell out tours and stuff, I
Mm.
guess. But definitely the fringe. I think for learning a lot and like and yeah, just getting better, if that's what people want. If you want to be a better comedian, I do think it's really good for that.
With the use of, like social media, one thing I have noticed a lot, every single person seems to be recording every single one of their sets. Is
Mm.
that something you would advise to do? Or only like, like would you record all of your work in progresses? Or would you just record, like the polished parts?
To be honest, I think I'm just not very good at this stuff. Like I've tried a little bit. I don't. It's definitely a good thing to do because it's working for people, right? But like, I don't film all my sets. I don't do a lot of crowd. Like I said, I don't do the "Where are you from? What do you do?" stuff,
A second
which is the
clickbait.
stuff that, yeah, that's what ends up getting used, right? Because also you're not burning material, whatever. I might, if I get a good video of the odd joke, I'll put that up. They don't tend to do like it's the thing. The problem is it's so weird, isn't it? Instagram and TikTok. You put loads of effort into a thing and it'll get nothing. And then the most stupid little thing that takes you a minute to make, you might get, 100,000 views on it. So, look, yeah, I think it's definitely good to do that. If you can, if you can find good clips, it's like, why not? If you can manage it. And also, it's good to learn how to use all the little editing things as well. It's only positive to learn it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think video editing is the worst thing in the world. I
Yeah.
cannot stand it. I'm already broken on it, and I've already been doing it for about 3 4 weeks. So
Right.
yeah, but I say part of stand up. I've seen a lot of your skits and stuff on
Yeah.
Instagram and stuff like that. Is that just something you're passionate about? You just seem to you like to entertain people. You like to have a laugh in general.
Absolutely, man. Like, even like, um, sorry, I can ramble a lot, so I'm going to try my best to actually answer, right? But like, I used to use social media in a way when, I guess, a bit before lockdown, I used to be like, try and be serious about stuff and make important, like, political points and like sometimes have an argument with some random and all of that. And then I just realized, like, why am I'm a comedian. I'm very lucky that there's some people that follow my stuff and like it. I should just be entertaining, right? That's what I should be. That's what, obviously, I'm not like, I'll retweet the odd thing or whatever. Or if there is some stuff, I will. I don't pretend to be completely apolitical or whatever like that. But I don't need to be this guy with all these views or whatever. So I try and make silly stuff. I've always, my getting into comedy, like for me, was always like, I think most people, if you grew up kind of, I guess, working class and your parents didn't take you to the theater or whatever, your main entertainment was TV and films, right? And I've got two older brothers who are a bit older, like 7 and 9 years older than me. So when I was little, they were watching all the best. They were teenagers. They were watching all the great Alan Partridge, whatever, on
Yeah,
TV. So that I was into that from really early. So I loved so much TV comedy and all of that. And I love, and I think films are like the best thing in the world, personally. You know what I mean? I love music as well, but I don't have any talent in that, right? But I'd love to, yeah, I'd love to make longer form stuff as well. I'd love to make feature films one day. Um, but yeah, why not, man? Like it shouldn't just be stand up, right?
yeah.
I like doing bits of acting and that as well. Um, yeah, I'm gonna hopefully continue to do more of that. Yeah.
Okay, so comedy's where we started. Hopefully, we could like leapfrog into other sort of sectors as it goes on.
Yeah, I guess it helps.
Okay, so like as we've been doing it for a while now, and you've now made a career out of comedy. How does it go about, from going on every single forum every half hour, trying to apply for a free 10 minute spot? Do people now come to you with gigs?
Yeah, I mean, right. So I've got an agent, and
Okay.
they run a lot of their own gigs, and they will sometimes, well, they'll get me gigs. It's not always enough. This is the thing, man. It's like, just because I think when you're newer, you can look at people. I mean, to be honest, this is always the case. You can always look at other people and think they've made it,
Hmm.
and like everything's easy for them now and everything. But like the last sort of year or so, I've got way less gigs. I haven't been proactive enough, right? I was in a really good position before, and I was a bit lazy. Like I wasn't reaching out for gigs myself, so I was relying on my management too much, and so I've had a lot less. So now I'm having to reach out to people more and more. Um, yeah, I mean, it was yeah, basically post the 2016 Fringe. That was what led to me getting a bunch of gigs. And then I was lucky I could get by getting the odd acting job or whatever like that. But yeah, it never, I mean, sorry, my point is you never stop, you can never stop being proactive as a comedian, right? Even if you've done it for a while, you've got to always be making your own connections with people and getting on with promoters and stuff. Like there's so many lovely people
Mm.
that run really good gigs, and it's always nice to see them and everything. You can't really, I suppose, if you're super famous, it's different, but I think you can't ever like just rely on other people to get you work,
Okay.
personally.
And as you know, you went dormant for a little bit. Would you say it was a you just picked up where you left off, or is it like like working out at the gym? If you miss a couple of months, you don't just continue where you were. You need to go back a little bit and then get back to where you were.
It's interesting, like when you don't do a gig for a while, the
Mm.
feeling is absolutely horrible. It's really weird, isn't it? Like if you don't do one for like a month, you
Mm.
feel like you can't do it. Like you feel like before you go on stage, you're like, I can't, it's so weird. Yeah, I guess it takes a couple of gigs and then you're back at it, I think I find.
Okay,
Yeah.
so yeah, like an ego thing. Also, like I'm confident, I'm confident. Oh no, I've got no confidence again.
Yeah, yeah,
Anyone,
yeah.
so anyone sort of looking to go into comedy, I think they would look at you as a bit of an inspiration. What advice could you give them?
I guess to be honest, the best advice is to get as much stage time as you can. That is really it. Because like when I first wanted to do it, I was looking up all these books and stuff about the art of stand-up comedy, all of this stuff.
Yeah.
And really, I'm sure lots of people do that. You're just procrastinating, really. Because you know what stand-up is. You know that if you're doing your first gig, it's probably 5 minutes you're doing, and you can try and write 5 minutes. And the thing, it doesn't even have to be 5 minutes, man. It can be 3 minutes. Nobody really cares. Like the first gig, you're doing it for yourself anyway, right? I think my first gig was like maybe 3 minutes. I thought it was fun, I didn't have a clue. Yeah, stage time. Whatever stage time you can get. I mean, not don't I wouldn't go and do loads of like music open mics and try and do comedy there necessarily. I don't know, but like if you live in London, there's so many open mic. I've not been in that world for a while, but you can pretty much do an open mic gig every night of the week, right?
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah, you can.
most
I
of them
mean,
won't be good.
no, a lot of them are bringers as well,
Yeah,
but that's just the devil we are sort of in. So
yeah.
I'm going to ask you my favorite question in the world. It's a
All right,
two-parter. I
all
don't
right.
really give a shit about the first bit. I'm going to be honest, but I ask it to be polite. Um, I love this. What was your best moment on stage? That's the first bit. And
Yeah.
what time did you bomb the hardest? And how did you overcome that?
Uh, Okay, I'll answer the first bit quick. I think it's hard to say, man, to be honest, but maybe I'd say like in 2015, I was like I got the runner-up in the Leicester Square Theatre New Comedian thing, which that was like the first time I felt like, oh, I can actually do comedy. Do you know what I mean? Because before
Yeah,
it's like you're stumbling along, and you don't like you can be doing all right, but you don't know if you're actually good because who can really tell you, right?
yeah,
You're doing all these bringer gigs and stuff. You don't really know. So yeah, that was good. But anyway, bombing is the important bit.
yes.
It's
That's the
good.
bit we
More
love.
people should talk about this.
Yeah.
They never do, right? Okay. I'm trying to think. There's definitely been a few. Uh, I think maybe the one of the worst ones for me was. Do you know the Frog and Bucket in
Up
Manchester?
north, yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
Manchester, yeah.
Yeah, it's a good. So I started comedy up there. I went to uni up there basically, and there's a gig in the Frog and Bucket called the King. No, not the King Gong. Beat the Frog, right? Which is a what do you call it? Gong show
Yeah,
where you've
yeah,
got to
yeah.
last 5 minutes. Yeah. I did a few of those. I maybe done two or three of those, the competition. I think it used to be on a Monday night. And I used to do really well. Like I used to generally do quite well. Didn't have a lot of material, but I'd be able to last the 5 minutes. And I didn't ever win it, but I was like runner up or whatever, which feels massive at the time. It
You
really
did the
doesn't
five
matter.
minutes.
Yeah, yeah, I
Yeah.
did the 5 minutes. It felt amazing, right?
Mhm.
Then it got to it was I didn't know a lot of people in Manchester really. And I became friends with a guy and his girlfriend, and they were really nice, these two people. And I told them, oh, I do this. And they said, oh, we'd love to come and see you. I was like, oh, I'm doing the Frog and Bucket soon.
Mhm.
You should come to that, you know? Now, the Frog and Bucket gig I was doing, the next Beat the Frog, was around Christmas time. And I didn't know that that is the worst time to gig. You know, I was so new to it, I had no idea. And so they came along to watch me. I went up and it was just awful, man. I just felt, I remember like the nerves before because it was fully packed. Like, I don't know, maybe 200 people in there. I can't remember how big it is. My legs were proper like jelly. That's the worst. I think those are the worst nerves that I've not had that for a what for years, I think. But literally my legs feel like they're like, yeah, jelly, wobbling. Went up, they didn't really get what I was doing. Tried to talk to the audience a bit, didn't work, and then I was off maybe I can't remember. It might have been 30 seconds or a minute or something.
Oh, they don't give a
But
gratitude period.
I can't remember, man.
I don't think they do up there, do they? I know Blackout gives
Maybe
you
not.
2 minutes. Comedy
Which one's
Store
that?
gives Blackout up the creek.
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah, yeah.
They
Do
give you
Comedy
two
Store
minute
give you any
gratitude.
time?
No, they don't. That was my first ever gig, Comedy
Oh,
Store.
it's
Yeah,
yeah.
and literally, I emailed them at like 5 o'clock, being like, "Is there any chance I can come on tonight? I've never done comedy." They got back straight away saying, we've just had 3 dropouts. Come along tonight." A
How was
minute,
it?
a minute 23.
Okay. Were
But
you happy with that?
it was the first time I'd ever done comedy. I feel
That's
it was.
mental that you did that.
I look back when I did it. I said, "Oh, I think this went okay." When you look back and you're like, "Fuck me! How did I even last a minute? How did I even last ten
Yeah.
seconds?" Yeah, looking back, it was awful, but
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
it
Ah,
got
but
it
it
got my
wasn't
team.
though. It wasn't awful because it's your first gig.
Yeah, you're
Like
meant to be
that
awful.
is amazing. The balls to do that is like because I remember how scary it was, man.
Mm.
Especially like, are you like me? Like I'm not trained in acting or anything like that. I've never done any theatre, whatever, public speaking. So for me, it was terrifying at the start.
I've
Yeah.
got
So
nothing.
yeah, I had those. Sorry.
I said I've got no acting experience, no
Yeah.
nothing like that. I just
Yeah.
rather
So
my
it's
good
so
looks.
scary, isn't it? Yeah. Yeah, so that was like that was one of those gigs where obviously afterwards they were like, "Oh, don't worry, it was good or whatever," but I knew they must have thought this guy has no clue what he's doing. He's not a comedian at all. And it was one of those where it was probably like a month after that I just felt horrible about it, you know.
Yeah.
It was like humiliating.
And
Of
so,
course it didn't
was
matter,
this one
but
of your first ones you did?
I'd been doing comedy for like maybe about a year at this point.
Okay.
Right? So it was, it was like it was maybe the third time I'd done that gig, and it had
Yeah.
gone well. But I just hadn't gigged at Christmas, and I didn't know that it's always works dues, and they're always rowdy and not really listening, and that, very different environment.
You've done gong shows. You don't got your set. Have you ever done any roast battles?
Nah,
No. I,
nah,
I
I don't know. Have you?
no, I haven't. I'd like to do one because one thing I think what's quite good about doing podcasting, and I know you run a successful podcast, is it's almost like pub talk.
Yeah.
You're sitting there having a chat, and I owned a pub for 4 years, and the
Oh,
amount of
cool.
abuse I heard people chucking at each other, and I
Yeah,
thought, is that all what a roast battle is going to be? So
yeah.
I'll be intrigued to do one, but
I
yeah.
mean, absolutely. Like, give everything a go.
Mm.
Um, I've seen some videos of some which I just think are awful, man.
Mm.
Like people making fun of each other's dead mums and stuff like that. Have you seen this stuff? I'm talking
No.
about British, like I'm not, not Americans. I've seen some really like people try and be quite edgy.
Yeah, okay. Okay. I'll challenge that then.
Yeah,
With roast battles, because I'm clever that me and you are both speaking from zero experience here, so we
yeah.
could both be completely wrong. Is there a is there a what you can and can't joke about? If we're on a roast battle and I said to you, "Oh, my mum died," have I just given you free reign to talk about that?
Well, that's the thing. I personally wouldn't do that. Do you know what I mean?
Why win but look like a cunt?
Yeah.
Like,
Like it's not a rap battle and we
yeah,
don't hate each other.
yeah.
Like
You do it eight
I'd
mile before it. You'll joke
yeah.
everything about yourself, and
Yeah, I don't know. I think that's not for me. Like as much as I think people should do different stuff. I think new comedians, if you want to do that,
yeah,
sure. I don't know if it'd help the stand up,
no,
maybe. I'll tell you something I've started doing. I've literally just started and it's brilliant. I've started comedy for kids.
okay,
Done two gigs. They're called Comedy for Kids. They're really well run gigs. They're really little kids and their parents in the audience. That has been brilliant because it's like a new skill you have to learn, right? And I've been trying to I don't you can do a lot of crowd work with them, but I've been trying to actually write stuff for kids. And I've done it twice. I've got a load booked after August, and it's really fun. And it feels like a different skill. And obviously you can do it in the day as well and then do a gig in the evening, so it's ideal and they do pay all right, you know.
you're quite a clean comic, aren't you? Anyways,
Usually,
like
yeah.
you
I
might
mean
let the odd
that's
slur out. The odd swear word can slip through the gate sometimes.
yeah. I'm pretty clean. Yeah. To be honest, it so what happened was when I first done the Fringe,
Mm,
they ask you like, oh, what's the rating of the show? And I was like, oh, I could make it a 12 plus, or I could just remove like two words and
yeah,
then anyone can come. Because I just thought if you're at the Fringe and you've got like a 10-year-old and then you can't come see my show, I thought that's not really fair, especially like the cake show is quite fun and silly, right?
yeah,
So basically, since that point, I've pretty much, I mean, the odd thing has come up in later shows, but I don't out and out like use the F word or the C word or whatever. You know what I mean? So yeah, I can work quite clean. And to be honest, man, it opens you up to more opportunities. Like
mm,
more people will book you for stuff if there's not out and out like family things. Like I wouldn't do anything like that. I wouldn't like do random weddings and stuff like that. You know what I mean? But like these comedy for kids gigs are very well run. Like they totally know what they're doing, so it's a proper little gig. Um,
it's a kid's
they
joke. If
asked,
you don't mind me
sorry.
asking, what is a
Oh, go
kid's
on.
joke? Like you've written
Okay.
material. Give me an
Yeah,
example.
yeah, yeah.
Of like what 6-year-old Timmy's gonna
Yeah,
love.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So what I've got, a couple of bits I've got so far is, let me think. I got one bit about where I ask them what their favorite biscuit is. They all go mental, start shouting out their favorite biscuits.
Okay,
I say mine
hobnob.
is choc
Okay, my
hobnob.
chocolate
Yeah,
hobnob.
chocolate
Chocolate
hobnob. Yeah,
hobnob.
yeah, yeah. And it could go on for a little while that bit.
Yeah,
I say
cracker.
chocolate bourbon is my favorite.
Okay.
And I say, but don't do what I did. I said I got in a lot of trouble recently. I ate too many chocolate bourbons. And I say, guess how much I ate? And whatever number they say, I go higher in it. So if they're like 300, I go 4,000 and they lose it at that, right? And then I say, but don't do that because what happened is I ate so many chocolate bourbons, I actually got arrested and I had to go to jail. And I say, but the good thing is that when I was in the jail, all of the prison bars were made of chocolate bourbons. So I ate my way out of there. And then I say, right, which is like for the parents, I say I got out of there. And I say, but then all the other criminals got out as well, but don't worry about that. So that's a little bit which works for like 4-year-olds, right? Which is a silly little story. And I'm looking forward to this, like developing this skill of trying to write more stuff like that. Like it's a funny story and it's got punchlines. It's just different.
Would you say it's more visual kids comedy?
Yeah. Yeah, I think it kind of has to be, right? But the fact that I can do it in my monotone way and tell them stories is
Yeah.
I was terrified, man. They asked me to do it ages ago and I kept bottling it
Yeah.
because I just thought, oh, they're gonna hate me. I don't know what I'd talk about, but I thought I'd have to be like a clown or a musical act or
Yeah.
whatever. But you can just tell them stories.
I mean, does it clean
And
the soul a little bit? Because that is
does it
some
what? Sorry?
does it clean the soul? Because that is some like natural, genuine laughter from a kid.
Yeah,
They're not gonna
it's
fake laugh
sweet, man.
something. Like that is, yeah.
Yeah, and they're not shy. It's a genuine
They don't
response you're
heckle you
getting.
either.
Yeah, well, they do heckle, but also they put their hands up when they want to say something.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
cute.
it is cute, man. I've got little nephews and nieces that I'm very close to, and I just think like, yeah, it's just a nice extra thing to do, and yeah, getting this kind of stage time in a different way. I've
Yeah.
really enjoyed it, and then I'm hoping it'll open up doors
New.
to other things. Like if I could write for kids stuff or whatever, it's like I'd really like that, you know?
Do you do like festivals in parks?
It depends, man. I've done some really good ones and I've done some awful ones. So it just depends how it's run. Like one of the best ones I've done, there's a festival called Greenbelt, right? Which is
Okay.
in Kettering, and it's actually a progressive Christian festival, which sounds mad, right? It doesn't
Yeah.
sound like it'd be good. If you do stand up there, I did a show at midnight that was an hour long, and everyone is sitting on the grass, and there was something like 600 people there,
Yeah.
and they stayed for the whole hour.
That's awesome.
I've done Latitude Festival, and people have been coming in and out of the tent. Do you know what I mean? And it's like that felt awful. So it just, I think it's like a case by case. Like some of them have run really well. Some of the audiences are great. You got people like all on pills and stuff at Latitude. You know, it's not ideal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still talking about the kids festival.
Oh, did you? Were you asking if I wait? Did I
No, no,
answer the
no, no. My
question
joke
wrong?
was all on pills, still on the kids festival. You
Oh,
know,
sorry. Yeah.
because all the AHD stuff now.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
okay, with the way sort of I'll do this as the last question then. Um, do you think the way sort of society's evolving with AI?
yeah.
AI is quite scary now, and but it's also amazing. Do you think
Mm.
AI has a place in comedy?
Not really. I mean, I can't see what it is. I suppose if you're using it, I know a comedian who was like he knows people that have like used it to come up with ideas. So like if you're talking about, let's say you've got a topic you want to do a little story about or whatever, and it's like going to a cafe or something, you could ask ChatGPT to just list all the things, right? I suppose if you're doing that, that's not too different to just Googling it, right? But then there's gonna be people that it's gonna get better. That's the thing. AI, it's getting better quick.
Yes.
And there's gonna be people that have their sets written out by AI eventually, right? And it will probably and it's literally gonna steal material from comedians the person hasn't heard about. That's
Hmm.
gonna be happening. AI artwork for fringe posters and stuff, that's gonna happen more and more.
Yeah.
And that's terrible because that's putting good artists and photographers out of work.
Yeah, I used AI for my podcast art. Going to be
Did
honest with you.
you?
I
Yeah,
am I'm mentally I'm
yeah,
creative. When it comes to any pictures, I remember at GCSE art, they said, no,
yeah.
who wants to do GCSE for art? And like the teacher came up and like said, Daniel, do not put your hand up. You are not allowed to do it.
Oh,
I will not teach you art for GCSE level. Like it's just
I'd say that's not good, is it? That's not good teaching, is it?
oh, I'm gonna shit. I'm at Mr. Rock. Well, I'm talking
Yeah.
about 20 odd years ago now. No, but I was awful. And I'm like, I can't draw a stick, man.
But could you
So,
not get a mate to do it? Like, who'd do it for free?
um, yeah, maybe. But this is sort of like my silent project whilst I'm like leveling up as a human being. I've sort
Yeah,
of
yeah,
taken
yeah.
myself
I'm not
away.
criticizing you for doing it. Like, I don't think anyone who uses any of it is like evil, right? But yeah, man, there's more and more stuff. Like because I was looking into making the kids stuff that I was talking about, and I was thinking like, oh, could I make like a little YouTube series or something before I try and pitch TV ideas or whatever? And I was looking through the YouTube kids stuff, and a lot of it is AI generated, and it is crap. It is
Yeah,
so bad. It's like the boy who always said no, and it's clear. It's like a fake voice. The
yeah,
images are all AI, and the boy's face changes from one picture to another, and stuff like that. It's like that's your kids are watching that, and
yeah.
it's just rubbish, right? So I personally, I can only see a lot of negatives at this point,
Hmm.
but that's my opinion. Um, but what can you
Back
do?
on the kids one quick. I
Yeah,
I messed about with that just to see how easy it was to do, and it is ridiculously easy. You go onto
yeah.
DeepSec or ChatGPT, write me a story about a fluffy animal where there's a moral to the story, and it'll shit out, blah blah blah, and then you just put it onto like Leonardo AI or something, and say convert this into a video as a cartoon. Boom, you got like a 10-minute video of, a fluffy Dashan with a broken paw and how he learns how to make friends. It took me about 10 minutes to do a 10-minute video. It's it's
That's nuts, isn't
cheapened.
it?
It's cheapened,
Yeah.
yeah. Like the
Yeah.
creative side of it. I think just to bang out a poster, meh, that's like, your own personal thing. But to try and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
monetize,
It's very
you know,
different, yeah.
yeah,
I mean, like you got is it Timberland, the music producer, Timberland, who
yeah.
is it him who's working
Who?
with an AI pop star? You heard about
Well,
this? It
I
might not be
haven't.
him.
But then how with pop stars and stuff like that, do they ever? Because I can't remember there was that song where they did that in AI and it absolutely smashed it. And it's like soon, is it all going to be is the royalties to a voice? Like would Ed Sheeran
Yeah.
ever need to write a song again, or would they just conjure something up in AI and put his voice on it?
I mean, like I think that's bad, right? That
Oh,
can only be
same here,
bad.
completely
Yeah.
same here. But then
I
same with
just I can't see
comedians.
the positives.
Hmm,
There's
no,
going to be comedians. Eventually there'll be an AI comedian,
yeah.
right? With a Netflix special or something who people are going to like.
Beats us to it.
They could do it. If they wanted to put money into this like fake guy,
Yeah.
yeah,
Well,
it could happen.
hmm,
It's like it's all getting there, isn't it?
yeah. Well, I'm
Yeah.
trying to write a bit right now about AI porn.
Okay.
I'll bring that back because it's like how I'm always getting adverts for I'm still using the classics from 20 years ago. I'm not ready for this. Like it's
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
work in progress, but yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So
You could
yeah,
do a lot about AI, man. Yeah.
you could. It's scary though, but also it's like I watch my 6 year old, no, not 6 year old, 3 year old niece, and
Yeah.
she's quite computer savvy already. She knows how to
Mm,
use a phone. And I know we always probably jested about, imagine trying to show your granddad, how, something works nowadays. What is it going to be in 50 years' time that's going to blow our minds?
yeah.
And yeah,
It's mad to think about, isn't it? Like it's the speed of it, isn't it? It's like how quick.
yeah,
Like a year ago, people were just generating these crap AI images, and everyone was like, "Well, this is stupid." And now, like, there's all these like you get all like random like right wing accounts like making fake images and being like, "Look, this is what's happened to London or whatever," and there's loads of people believing it.
yeah. Or like every time you post something on TikTok or Instagram, you can almost sense the bot accounts.
Yeah,
And what I've noticed that some people are doing when there's a bot account, they ask the bot a question like, "Can you just say the word apple just so I know you're human?" And then they never
yeah.
respond. And
Oh,
it's
really?
yeah, it's crazy. Bilal, that's been absolutely brilliant. Thank you ever so much for coming on.
Thanks, man. I hope some of what I said was useful. I know I can ramble a bit.
It's been absolutely brilliant, like really helpful for new people coming onto the set and to see, that hard work it does pay off and you can actually make a career out of doing comedy.
Absolutely, yeah, yeah. And it's
Yeah.
so much fun, isn't it? Listen, all the people that if you've just started or whatever, how much fun is it being on stage?
I think you've got to enjoy not just the stage, you've got to enjoy the whole package. You've got to
Yeah,
enjoy the traveling, going down the M25 at 12 at night. You've got
yeah,
to enjoy it all. So
yeah.
yeah, that has been amazing. Thank you ever so much.
Nice one.